Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. Bradley, it's a beautiful day. It feels like the first day of autumn. You know, a crisp, crunchy, blue-skied... There's a pigeon on my roof. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Pigeon's fighting on the roof. You know, just a classic autumn day, you know?
You got the sort of... yeah, it sounds good at your end. I got some builder ASMR going on in my ears. So I've got like a big crack in the back of my wall. That's not a metaphor.
It could very easily be.
And they're repointing it today. So if you hear lots of like scrabbling around and it sounds like I'm potentially in a cave that I'm chiseling my way out of, it's because there's some boys going hard at it behind me on the wall. Johnny, we've got a bloody massive event coming up, mate. It's going to be so fun.
We do, yeah. This is probably the biggest couple of weeks in maybe Craft Beer Channel history, but certainly in 2022, which is, the launch of our feature-length documentary with Meantime, which we've been working on since the first thing I shot was on the 22nd of June, Brad.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
So that was, what was that? What part of it was that? Not to give the game away, but...
that was, actually, it didn't actually make the cut. It was sort of working out of the recipe that we were going to do. So initially, I mean, things like this change and move around all the time as they're sort of being written and then being presented and everything's happening. But originally, I was kind of set the scene with an idea of a beer that I wanted to make, and then we were going to go out and sort of discover the best way of doing it. And in the end, the narrative sort of completely flipped on its head, so it got completely canned. But that was the first time, I hit the round red button on this documentary, even if it ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, man, it's been a long old process, and it's all coming to fruition. We're officially inviting you, our listeners/viewers, to come join us for a pre-release screening this Wednesday, 21st of September, 6pm to 9pm, down at Meantime Brewery in Greenwich. Can they RSVP us at Craft Beer Boys?
Yeah, at craftbeerboys@gmail.com if you want tickets. The tickets are free.
Mate. And you get to hang out with us,
going to be some... You get to hang out with us. You get to watch the film. There'll be a little Q&A afterwards, maybe. I think there's going to be some free food around. You'll obviously get to taste the beer. That will be on tap. Our delicious reinvention of English IPA, which we're terming modern British IPA for reasons that will become clear in the documentary. So join us for the screening of this documentary, entirely free. It's basically a road trip around the UK, learning about our amazing ingredients and then brewing a beer that celebrates it all, plus the diversity of Britain's beautiful, what's the term?
Produce.
Green hills.
Green hills, yeah. Countryside.
England's green and pleasant hills. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm
not very good at the nationalistic shit.
No, me neither. But it's kind of like we had such a ball doing the New England road trip that it's kind of like our UK equivalent of that, brewing the UK style that we should all be celebrating in the same way that we were investigating New England IPA. We're kind of doing it back home. So I think it's a nice sort of coming back to where it all started for everybody. and it's kind of a look forward to where we could potentially go with our amazing ingredients that we've got in the UK, and obviously brewing tradition and incredible breweries. So, I mean, the beer is tasting banging, which is the main thing, obviously.
And a relief. That was my overriding emotion when we tasted it. Just sheer relief.
Yeah. It is real nice, and can't wait to see everyone again. I mean, you're going to be sick to death of watching this this documentary for another time at the event. But
I mean, I've watched. So it's when we edit our normal videos, like I'll end up watching it through, I don't know, maybe 20 times in total. This like the moments. This one, it's more like 30 or 40, and it's an hour and a half long. So at the moment, I'm going through this brutal process. Usually at the end of an edit, I'll watch it through once, make some more tweaks, walk away from it, have a cup of tea or some lunch or whatever it is, and then come back and watch it one more time. And I still make mistakes. But with this one, when I do that, it's an hour and a half I'm sat there each time.
Yeah.
So it's been quite the investment towards the end.
Big time, mate. I mean, look, it's looking brilliant as well. We're on the final sort of stretch now to getting it fully realized. So
we are hopefully potentially the final version's just finished uploading for you to take a look, Bradley.
Amazing.
But I'm not going to jinx it by saying it is, because it's probably not.
Yeah.
So yes, please come down on Wednesday. Tickets are free. Starts at 6 p.m. The beer will be on tap. There'll be food. There'll be us. We'll be selling books and merchandise as well, and we'll be hanging out. So it should be a really fun evening. That's North Greenwich, basically. The Meantime Taproom should be a lot of fun. If you can't make it because you're in a foreign country, you're not around, or you just don't live in London, or you have commitments, or you don't really want to meet us, which would also be fair enough, you can watch it. A week later, it's going live on YouTube. We're going to be... It'll be like a normal upload, but it won't be at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. It will be at 7 p.m.
Nice.
And we'll be doing what's called a YouTube premiere. So that's where you watch it, but as normal, but the comments are live. So we can be commenting, you can be asking us questions, you can be chatting to each other, and you can buy the beer from the Meantime shop. That goes live next Wednesday, so you've got a week to get your order in, and then you can drink the beer as you watch it as well. And then after that premiere, we will be doing a live show. So we'll be sat back drinking the beers and taking your questions and just generally geeking out about anything you want to talk about, really. It doesn't have to be about the documentary. We just thought it would be a nice opportunity for everyone to hang out. So that'll be starting around about 9:30 on Wednesday, the 28th. So film starts at 7 p.m. And you can join at any point and start from the beginning if you want. And then we'll be doing the live show from about 9:30 for about an hour, because I've got a young child and Brad's not as young as he was. So bedtime would beckon.
Turning 40, mate. Crazy times.
Turning 40 in a month or so, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've booked where I'm going on holiday now, which is very exciting. Managed to get going to San Francisco, buddy. So I managed to get some
San Fran, baby.
Some kind of like cheap flights and nice cheapish. Well, do you know what? It's gone up so much to stay in San Francisco since we were there. It's unbelievably expensive. Like, you can't stay in Airbnb anymore because it's hundreds of pounds a night. So we're staying in the Yotel, me and my partner. And
but you don't like sushi.
I don't think they serve sushi. But
what?
we are
surely breakfast should be sushi.
Oh, that's probably... Yeah, you're probably right. We are in sleeping bags on a conveyor belt. That is our sleeping accommodation. No, I wanted to book a room called a Sky Cabin, which looks well cool. It's in like this Victorian factory warehouse building in downtown San Fran somewhere. It's not the Tenderloin district, which is scary and sad because there's loads of homeless people walking about. It's somewhere else, but it's downtown somewhere. It's not where I'd normally stay, which is Mission District, but I can't afford that anymore, Johnny. So we're not staying there. But the Sky Cabins are like these tiny little footprint rooms with a little mezzanine bed, like a bunk bed almost. But at the end of the bunk bed is a massive TV. So I was like, I'm up for that. But my girlfriend, that is my heaven. My girlfriend is a bit claustrophobic. So I thought that probably wasn't the best of places to stay. So we've got a normal room with windows.
Still have a TV at the end of the bed.
We still have a TV. I think it's a bit further away, Johnny. So you know, it's not quite as fun, is it? But hey, can't go quite as cross-eyed.
Really slumming it in San Francisco with your TV slightly further away from the bed than you wanted there, Brad.
Yeah. So I'm going there. We haven't, because I'm a miser and I'm a bit of a cheapskate and I'm a bit broke as well. We haven't paid for luggage for both of us, so we're sharing a suitcase. Because I think it was nearly 200 quid per suitcase on the flight, which is crazy. It's
gone mad, mate.
I basically said to my girlfriend, I was like, please just go hand luggage. Let's just go hand luggage. We'll save like 400 quid. Anyway, she's insisted she needed a whole bag.
Rightly. So, you're going for a week.
Well, yeah, I know, mate. But it's San Francisco. You don't need to be that warm. You just wear warm stuff on the flight. Wear loads of layers like the Michelin Man. When you get off, you're fine. Cargo pants, you put all of your stuff. I don't own any cargo pants, but if I did, this is the trick, right? You wear the cargo pants, loads of pockets. You wear a big oversized jacket, loads of pockets. And then you wear different layers. That's how you get away with it these days without paying for hold luggage. But having hold luggage hopefully means I can bring back a couple of beers. So I'm going to have to get your recommendations on those sort of inflatable bag things.
Yeah, I can give you a load of them.
Yeah, and then I'm going to try and bring back some Pliny and, well, anything else you think might be good. But obviously, I have limited space, so it might be like 4 beers or something. But
you don't need clothes coming home. You can just buy more clothes when you get home. Just fill it with Pliny.
Yeah. Just Pliny. Yeah, just Pliny. But if there's anything else exciting that anyone else thinks that I should go and visit near San Francisco, just shoot me a direct message on Discord. And I will.
Or do it in public so everyone gets the gem.
Yeah, 100%. If you're not already on the Discord, get on the Discord.
Which you can do by joining our Patreon. You get every member of our Patreon gets a link to the Discord, just in case you don't know.
100%.
Before we get any more sidetracked, should we should keep the link flowing from the documentary about what we've been up to this week.
Yeah.
Because we did meet some Patreons.
We did
on Monday, which was very lovely to see, as we did pretty much a fake launch for the beer almost. So it's the launch that's appearing in the documentary in which we get a bunch of people down to try. So we were very honoured to have Pete Brown and Anthony Gladman and some other people down to taste the beer, but also some lovely Patreons. So thank you to everyone that came down and hopefully enjoyed the beer. I don't know whether you're coming next week as well, but hopefully you are, because the beer's that delicious. But we had a wonderful time launching the beer, eating Indian food at the amazing Gladstone Arms in Borough.
I mean, that place is fantastic. I'm not going to lie, before this I didn't even know it was there, Johnny. I didn't even know it was there. But now I feel like it's going to be a regular haunt, because Mega and G, the owners, are just bloody brilliant people. The beers, they've got great tap selection, and it's just got a great vibe. The food's brilliant, like the sort of Anglo-Indian hybrid food. They've got something for everyone. I had cheese on toast that had sort of like paneer on it and like spicy stuff, but also had cheddar on it, Johnny. So it was like a flavour explosion, mate. Oh, great stuff. Loved it.
Yeah, and I had chicken tikka.
Yeah,
on chips.
Yeah, come on. Can't go wrong with that, right?
I know, it was pretty amazing. And then we had there were samosas, papdi chat, all kinds of lovely Indian food, because it is a desi pub, which is a pub owned and run by a South Indian landlord, and there's about 400 of them in the country. And we're going to do not a documentary, we're going to do a video about them. I think a tour of the absolute best desi pubs, because it is a wonderful combination of amazing food, quite often amazing beer, although also as we learn in the documentary, like, because it's sort of, they're very working class pubs, so there's lots of really great cask ale as well. And we're gonna do that with David Jessedason, who appears in the documentary and tells us all about it. So that's a video to look forward to early next year, and that's another reason to come to our screening next week. Before we get on to this week's video, the other thing I wanted to talk about, Bradley, is to say that you'll be excited to hear that I have just taken the first few tentative steps towards starting our next homebrew adventure.
Mate, I can't wait. It's going to be a really good one. Can we tell people basically what it is?
Oh yeah. We're gonna tease them.
Oh, so teasy. Go on then.
So this week I had a conversation with Chris Lohring of Notch Brewing.
Damn, son. We're not messing about.
A happy hour nerding out about delicious Czech lager. He told me most of his process. He told me most of his ingredients. He gave us lots of... He's never really been a home brewer. He did it for a little bit, but got a commercial job pretty early, back in the early 90s when he first started out. But we were sort of hashing out how we could make his processes work on a homebrew scale. So there's obviously the decoction thing we need to do, so boiling portions of the wort and portions of the mash technically, and using that to do step mashing. We've also got to consider open fermentation, because that's an important part to get the correct kind of esters, phenols, fermenting kind of process and character out of it. So we're going to look at how we can do that without, the obvious risks of oxidation, infection. We're looking at the whole reason you'd open ferment is to do with the pressure. You don't want pressure on the beer. So that's why lots of open fermenters are sort of not very deep. So we've got a slight issue with that because our conicals are very deep compared to how wide they are. So there's lots of stuff we're going to have to think about to make this beautiful lager. And that's before we even get to the pouring of it through a side pour tap and learning how to do that right and pour it right and look after it right and get the right consistency of the beer to make that delicious wet foam as wet as possible. So it's going to be an involved episode. I think we always try to do it in 2 episodes. I think this is going to be at least 3.
Yeah, man. I can't wait. We've got some big things to do with this, and as we're sort of nearing a cooler temperature time of year, it's the perfect time to be sort of brewing lagers, isn't it?
Yeah, with energy prices as they are, I don't want to use my glycol chiller quite as much as I have been.
No.
So yeah, brewing it in winter. I should also say, while we're on the topic, Malt Miller are wonderful sponsors of this podcast, and indeed Patreons of the YouTube channel, have just embarked in their own lager odyssey, which they've been doing with Budvar. So they went over there to learn everything they could about Budvar. They interviewed the head, the brewmaster, and all stuff like that, and they've put quite a few episodes together. I've only seen 1 episode so far, but it's well worth checking out, so give that a look as well. I'll stick a link in the show notes so that you can go enjoy that and see what's in store with our one, which I'm sure will be way more chaotic. Right, this week's video, an absolute nerd fest, wasn't it?
Mate, I don't really get much nerdier than talking about temperature. It's such an abstract concept to sort of like try and distinguish between different temperatures. Yeah, you can say something's cold, something's hot, but to sort of get into the minutiae, into the weeds of specific temperatures that beer should be served at is pretty geeky.
And how it affects both our tongues and the neural pathways.
Yeah, man. It's amazing, isn't it? I think as we sort of go down this journey together, the sort of realization that all these different factors play in how you taste and enjoy your delicious beverage, it becomes more and more fascinating. Like learning about how carbonation can sort of trigger, although we're still not sure whether this is 100% true, can trigger sort of memories and nostalgia in your brain as you're drinking this sort of carbonated thing. That's amazing to me. And the fact that, different temperatures make different beers open up in different ways and agitate the molecules, the flavour compounds to sort of open up and become more exciting. So that the sort of like take home is like, don't drink everything freezing cold, but maybe,
and don't drink anything too warm. Although a lot of the comment whenever we get technical, because when you get technical, you dive. You dive deep into something, and people don't necessarily like when science tells tradition it's kind of wrong. And I don't know whether that's what's happening here, but we have pissed off some Germans and some Belgians with this video. So the Germans are saying you should never serve your lager that cold.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, like we said at the start, it's personal preference, and the Germans probably wouldn't serve it at 4 degrees, but then equally... that's because they have a way of storing it at a different temperature. The reason we picked 4 degrees specifically is because that's probably the temperature of your fridge, right? So we're saying if you're drinking a lager, drink it straight out of the fridge. And I wish I'd made that a little bit clearer in the video as to why we'd picked 4 degrees. 4 degrees to us is the temperature it is straight out the fridge. 6, 8, 10, 12 are not. you have to leave them out for a little bit. So yes, that's also true. But also, like in the Czech Republic, where we got somebody from the Czech Republic saying you'd never serve your lager at that temperature, like the difference is that you're probably serving it in a snit, so a much smaller portion, and you're serving it in a chilled glass. So your experience of that is going to be very, very different to somebody just getting a can out of the fridge and holding it in their warm hands. You want that beer as cold as possible to start with, because otherwise, by the time you're halfway down, you're going to have a lager at 12. So we have considered all of these things in these answers. I just didn't put it into the video because I thought that was too much, but maybe I was wrong.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, this has to be it's a generalized. I mean, I won't even say it's dumbed down because it's not. There's a lot to sort of take on board here. Like we've obviously got that little shortcut that you've worked out, but then also there's the sort of 3 or 4 paths to beer enjoyment. Depending on maltiness, sourness, hoppiness in drinking. So there's a lot to consider there, and there obviously are exceptions to the rules, and obviously there's cultural differences as you sort of go around different great beer drinking nations. But this is sort of like a general rule of thumb that if you're at home and you possess a fridge, you might want to set it to be like 4 degrees or whatever, and then let your beers warm up a little bit, depending on how hoppy, strong, sour, or malty they are.
The other thing, so we annoyed the Belgians, who I think actually it was on Instagram. Somebody said serving a Gers at 8 is a waste of a Gers, isn't it? And I think they said that they served theirs at 16 degrees.
16?
16?
Wow.
I'm not even sure I'd serve a red wine at that temperature. Like,
that's quite warm, isn't it? Yeah.
People think that British people drink their beer warm. Good Lord.
That sounds too warm. in my humble opinion. I'm not, I'm not drinking Gers with the Gersians every weekend, but yeah. That's
but also, if
crazy.
it starts at 16,
what's it
and it's a sunny day, good Lord, what is that beer going to be at by the time you get to the bottom of the 750ml bottle?
Air temperature, blood temperature. Yeah, some crazy sort of
37 degrees.
Yeah.
Madness, we also had an interesting comment. I hope I'm not going to take yours about. Actually, maybe it was in the Discord. Sorry, asking how quickly these beers warm up and how long you should leave these beers out of the fridge. So I think maybe there's a video in that or an update or something. I'll delve into the science. I think somebody linked to it in the Discord as well. Somebody had done a study into that. So we'll get some answers and we'll either put that in the comments box on the video or we'll screw it. We'll do another video.
I mean, there's loads of things to consider with that. With like how quick does a beer come up to ambient temperature? Like it probably depends on all sorts. Like obviously the level of sunlight. Is it in direct? Obviously you wouldn't put it in direct sunlight, but the kind of, I imagine almost the moisture level in the air. Like if it's very humid, that could play a big part in bringing something up to kind of, and then obviously the gap between the fridge temperature and the sort of room temperature. If it's much less of a gap, or if it's much more of a gap, it would heat up quicker, presumably. If it's much more of a gap, I don't know. It's probably really complicated.
And obviously it will cool up. It will warm up quicker to start because of that greater gap, and then start to slow down, I believe. But so we'll dive into this. We're not going to hash out the answers now because we'll probably get it wrong. Probably already have.
Yeah.
Did you find any fun comments?
There's a load on there. Someone was out having a play about my aggressively unbuttoned jacket this week, but
oh no, we've got a theme now, have we?
We seem to. Scott Budway said, "Great video as always. Love your enthusiasm. Love your attention to beer science. Love your attitude. You are my beer Top Gear team. Very great and similar chemistry." So which one of the three? Actually, I don't even know who presents Top Gear anymore. I wonder whether he's talking about classic Top Gear. I have no clue. Do you think he's talking about?
I think Paddy McGuinness is
still
there.
That's it. It's Paddy McGuinness.
Maybe Freddie Flintoff.
It's the cricketer and some other dude who I don't know.
I think he was like a YouTuber of cars, a car YouTuber. I think. He was
that's
sort of
cool.
Plucked out of nowhere, possibly.
Nice.
That was what I last remember, which was years ago. So I don't know whether that's still the same.
Yeah, the last thing I remember is Paddy McGuinness had dyed blonde hair.
What?
Yeah, I saw that on an advert. I was like, wow, that is a look, mate. You are probably approaching 50 and you've got a cropped, like, sort of frosty tips. But it wasn't frosty tips, it's full on blonde. He looked like he was having a lot of fun, Johnny. So, you know, whatever.
Good for him.
Goes.
You do you, Paddy.
Yeah.
And any other comments?
I mean, I had a bunch. I've just moved it all around. David Ellis is talking about Goldilocks temperature, baby. Excellent infotainment, gents. Echoing the comments below. You're on fire. So we got a lot of people telling us that we put out a lot of good videos lately, which is really
good
nice.
Good to know, yeah. Particularly when we've been working so hard on something else. Maybe what is it, like the pressure, you know? Pressure can really focus you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Goldilocks temperature. I'm guessing he's talking about you have Goldilocks zones, in sort of space or outer space where exoplanets could be potentially habitable for life, and that's called the Goldilocks zone. So I'm presuming
I think he's talking about the story Goldilocks, where you have the three bears with their different temperatures,
right, yeah.
and the middle one is right.
He's
but
literally
it could
just
also
talking
be the
about
space
porridge.
thing that comes.
Oh, okay. He's talking about porridge. David, I thought you were talking about outer space, mate. Maybe you are talking about porridge.
I mean, they're both related, you know. That comes from the Goldilocks story as well. It's got levels, Goldilocks, you know.
Mate,
you never think about how clever. Wait, is it Goldilocks was clever? Or maybe the bear was clever because the bear. Was it the mummy bear or the bear? I think the mummy bear had the right temperature. What is this podcast? Why am I thinking about this? Whichever one had it right was a clever bear. There's a comment that you haven't picked up on, which I thought you would.
Go on.
We've had a couple of people kind of shocked and saddened by my behaviour.
Oh, the pouring of the beer.
Yeah, I didn't pour your beer.
Yeah, I did.
How did that make you feel in the moment, Brad?
Oh, pretty hurt. Like the lover's dead or something. No, I did. To be honest, I think I did notice at the time, but I was like, oh, you're talking about a lot of stuff in your head here. You were basically
I think I was
doing
just
a bit of a Rain Man thing in your head, trying to remember that diagram. So I was like, cool, no worries. I
got this. I've poured beer before, says Brad.
Almost capable of pouring beer at this point, although I didn't do a great job the other night.
It would have been glorious if you had spilled it.
Yeah. That would have been good.
It'd be like, you're never pouring on camera again.
Yeah. A lot of people liking that diagram, though, which is cool. So, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe people want it on a T-shirt. I'm not sure about that. Maybe a poster.
It would make
or
sense
fridge magnet.
to put it on a glass, right? On our glass that we're
yeah.
sort of still working on. That could maybe be part of the...
Are we working on it?
Well,
it's not just an idea in our heads.
Yeah, that is work, though. Ideas in your heads are still work. But yeah, like, maybe we want to put a lot of information on the glass, don't we? So it's kind of like that could be another layer potentially of stuff. Although I do like the way that it's coloured differently. It really signposts well the different kind of flavour towns. Whereas if it was all printed on a glass, we might not be able to get it full colour. We could do a full colour glass. It'd just be very bloody expensive, wouldn't it?
Well, it'd probably add like £1 to the glass price.
Yeah.
Once we're selling it, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
But we'll work it out once we actually design and start printing the glassware, which we really. I said to a lot of people it'll be end of summer. I'm going to say start of winter now, but yeah, that will be happening eventually. Yeah, well, I think that's all the comments. Thank you for everybody that weighed in on that. It was a really great little comment section, and had a lot of fun replying and reading those. And also on Instagram, it kicked off, and in the Patreon forum as well. So that's always lovely to see, and it means you've made a good video. You've either educated or confused, and I think we did that in equal measure with this video. So yeah, that's all we've got time for this week. I've got to get back and Brad's got to give me feedback on the next version, and I've got to hopefully say that no, that's it, I'm done. So Brad's going to go do that, and we will see you hopefully on Wednesday. We do have an upload on Wednesday as well, so even if you can't come, we'll see you then. But yeah, Wednesday night, just email craftbeerboys@gmail.com. If you want tickets, just let us know how many. We've still got about 30 spaces, so be quick, but you don't have to be too quick. Ask for permission from the bill payer. No, it's free, so don't worry about it. So yeah, just get those emails sent, and we will see you there for a wonderful night on Wednesday, and everybody else the week after for the screening of The Time Is Now, a feature-length documentary with the Craft Beer channel. Love and beer. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's Craft Beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the Craft Beer channel, and if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.